Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist. We are super excited. We have a special treat for you all through the service. We have special treats all through the service. But to start off this morning, we have Grace and Conrad and their beautiful flutes, and Joel and his beautiful voice. And our prelude this morning is a familiar tune from Jean Sibelius, known as Finlandia, but it's also, help me, what's the first line? This is my song. Beautiful song. We figured it was appropriate for Earth Day.
We're going to start now. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation on this very special day. Today is Installation Sunday, an event that has occurred only twice previously in the history of our church. Welcome to those of you who have traveled from other places to be with us today. Welcome to the faithful who are present here on a regular basis. Welcome to those of you who are joining us on Zoom. And let's just take a minute to turn around and wave to the folks that are joining us from home on Zoom. And lastly, welcome to those who will watch this service sometime in the future on YouTube. We are better and we are stronger because we are here together. I'm Deborah Roberts. I'm the lead pastoral associate here at MVUU, which is served by the Reverend Matthew Funk Crary, who will be installed officially as our settled minister later today. Summer Adi, one of our pastoral associates, will also participate in today's service. Today's reflection will be delivered by the Reverend Rod Richards, who used to attend this church. Was that in the triple wide, Rod?
No, it was
on Cromwell. Yeah, in the triple wide. As you can see, we've moved up a little bit. I'm told that you once volunteered to fill in when a speaker was needed, and that folks were so impressed by what you did that they encouraged you to consider a future in the ministry. And here you are. Reverend Rod moved to Tucson in 1993. His wife, Hanji, was a lifelong Unitarian and connected with MVUU even before they arrived. And once they did, they were warmly welcomed and soon became involved in a variety of congregational activities. Rod's growing call to ministry was encouraged and supported here. And Reverend Susan Manker-Seal became a guide, mentor, and lifelong friend in the process. Rod still has the text of the play called Rod's First Day as Minister, written by Margaret Fleming, and performed by a host of congregants to his embarrassed delight, just before he returned to Minnesota to attend United Theological Seminary. Reverend Rod served the UU Church of Southeastern Arizona, now called Sky Island, from 2009 to 2012, and has served as minister of Unitarian Universalists San Luis Obispo since 2012. He is thrilled to be here for the celebration of the installation of his longtime friend and esteemed colleague, Matthew Funk Crary, and to see the new congregational home of Mountain Vista. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
A heartfelt thanks goes out to those who make this service possible, our welcomers, our music director, Chris Tackett, our beautiful trio that we just heard perform, our hospitality crew under the direction of Joel Yelland, who is also our hymn leader and who put together last night's shindig, or part of it anyway, which was a great success. Yeah. Also, our RE director, Stacy Sosa, and our AV crew today, we have Lee McMillan leading the pack, Robin Crary, Alex Stuckey, and Vince Sensky on camera. And Alex, thank you as well for doing the slides for this service. And a huge dose of appreciation goes out to Warren Ellis, who's not here right now because his son's in town, and his crew, who have worked so hard to prepare for the events this weekend and who were here last night after the party, transforming this dance hall back to a sanctuary. Let's hear it for those folks. So during today's service, we're going to be addressing several different themes. The theme for Installation Weekend is Not Without Dust and Heat, and we have certainly entered that season here in southern Arizona. I also think of all the dust, perhaps metaphorically, and heat that was generated in preparing for this weekend. You will hear much more about this theme later today. That also ties into Earth Day, which is tomorrow, and we will address that in just a few minutes. Then there is the Baja 4 liturgical theme for the month, which is transformation. I think of how the desert that surrounds us has been transformed in recent weeks from a monochromatic vista to a sea of color, as the wildflowers, especially the brittlebush and palo verde right now, how they bloom and brighten both the landscape and our spirits. And this is especially apt because wildflowers are also part of our theme this month. Every time I enter this building, I am reminded of how we transformed it from a furniture store into a beautiful church. And in just a bit, you will see something that further transforms this space. Anticipation. The theme of Reverend Rod's reflection is information, and he will be talking about growing relationships. Perhaps they are transformative? Lately, Reverend Matthew has been talking about shared ministry, and we certainly have an example of that in today's service. As Summer, Reverend Rod, and I share the ministerial duties along with Chris and the euphorics. And let's not forget Installation Sunday, which is not expressly part of this service, but is definitely on our minds today. So buckle up and join us as we explore all of these themes here today. The words for our chalice lighting today come from Sophia Lyons-Faz, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who was kind of a revolutionary religious educator in our faith. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together, so close, yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. Please join us in the singing of hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth, rising as you are able, and the words will be there on the screen.
Splendor of the skies, for
as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is Earth Day, and I chose that hymn partly in celebration of Earth Day and also because I think it fits in a little bit with what Reverend Rod is going to be talking to us about. So we hear a lot about global warming and the danger our planet is in. Sometimes its demise seems inevitable, and we wonder how we can make a difference. Please consider this parable of the hummingbird. A tiny hummingbird lives in a huge forest, which is being consumed by a wildfire. All the animals in the forest come out of their hiding places, and they are transfixed as they watch the forest burning. They feel very overwhelmed, very powerless, with the exception of a little hummingbird who says, "I'm going to do something about the fire." So it flies to the nearest stream and takes a drop of water. The tiny bird drops it on the fire and then goes up and down, up and down, up and down, as fast as it can, each time dropping more water on the fire. In the meantime, all the other animals, much bigger animals like the elephant, with a big trunk that could bring much more water than the hummingbird, those other animals are standing there helpless, not knowing what to do. And they say to the hummingbird, "What do you think you can do? You are too little. This fire is too big. Your wings are too weak, and your beak is so small that you can only bring a small drop of water at a time." As they continue to discourage the tiny bird, it turns to them without wasting any time and tells them, "I'm doing the best that I can." This parable has a simple message. We should always be like a hummingbird. We may feel insignificant, but we certainly don't want to be like the animals watching as their habitat is destroyed. We can all be hummingbirds, doing the best we can.
My words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung. Would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down. The thoughts are broken. Perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know. Don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air. Ripple in still water when there is no pebble tossed, no wind to blow. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, let it be again. Let it be known there is no fountain that was not made by go. No one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. Ripple in still water, where there is no pebble tossed, no wind to blow. You choose to lead must follow. But if you fall, you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da. La da. La da da da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da da. La
Join in with us.
La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da. La da. La da da da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da da. La da 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 da.
And I need Pete and Grace. Have you noticed anything different here in the sanctuary today? No? Nobody? Maybe something that piques your curiosity? There is some history behind this. Before we moved into this building, the Ambiance Committee was given responsibility for decorating and furnishing the church. Elizabeth Van Horn and I chaired the Ambiance Committee, and Lee McMealy, Hannah Coy, and Derek Contreras were members. We always envisioned that there would be something to decorate this big blank wall in the front of the sanctuary, and we hoped it would be a quilt for decorative and acoustic purposes. Well, the Ambiance Committee disbanded, but I continued to pursue this dream. I was finally able to get a crew to work on it, and we were granted a very modest budget. For the last, 3 months or so, Grace Yelland, Paula Lipsitz, who's not here today, Pete Adams, and I have been working on 3 quilt panels. Kudos go especially to Grace, without whom this would not have happened. She gave freely of her time, her talent, and her treasure. She spent countless hours designing and sewing, and a lot of the fabric in the quilts comes from her extensive collection. Without her participation, as I said, this would never have been completed. We all helped with the design, and Paula did a lot of the sewing, and Pete was pitching in there too with both designing and sewing. I did a lot of ironing and some hand sewing. Steve Bothoff, I have to give a shout out to him because he sharpened our scissors. The quilting itself was done by a woman named Brenda, and I urge you all, when you have a chance, to take a closer look at the quilts, because what she did just magnified the design. It's incredible. Thank you all for helping to make my dreams come true. I'm amazed by the results, and I hope you will be too. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
All right. Yeah. Oh, that would have been easier. Thank you. Sorry, Dan. Between our Sundays together, there are deep sorrows and there are great joys that touch our individual lives. We gather here as a community of faith once again to listen and honor what occurs among us and to share in comfort and celebration together. Pouring our water that we have collected as a congregation and harvested from Sonoran skies into a common vessel is a symbol of our bonds as a faith community and the soothing comfort we offer, the exuberant celebration that we share. Although there is no report today for joys and sorrows from the pastoral care, we still honor and put a stone. This is a stone for the sorrows, named aloud and held silently among us. And this is for the joys, spoken here or carried quietly, that lift our hearts. Our community holds it all. The deep, deep depths and the great heights of our individual lives, reviewing and giving us strength. May we hold what we have heard in our hearts and to reach out with our hands and care for one another. Coming up will be a slide with the pastoral care team. Our pastoral care committee leads us in our communal comfort and celebration. We are here to listen and respond, to collect what you would share with our faith community, and name that each week before we place stones in our community waters. We are also here to assist our congregation in our active comfort and celebration together. We would love for you to contact any of our team to share your joys or your sorrows, so that we may speak them here and to find out how you can respond with comfort and celebration to all that you have heard. Thank you.
After all the excitement, I ask you to join with me now in a period of quiet meditation. Close your eyes and take a deep breath, allowing yourself to fully arrive in this moment. Try to clear your mind of extraneous thoughts and take another deep breath. Relax your shoulders and your neck and take one more deep breath. Imagine you are surrounded by a circle of people, each one unique, yet all connected in a web of interdependence. Feel the presence of others around you, supporting you, and feel yourself supporting them in return. As you breathe in, recognize that you are not alone. you are part of a community, a larger whole that embraces you just as you are. With each exhale, send a silent wish of well-being to those around you, knowing that your presence is a gift to them, just as theirs is to you. Reflect on a time when you'll feel deeply connected to others, when you felt a sense of belonging and acceptance. Where were you? Who was there? What was it that made you feel supported, understood, and loved? Hold that feeling in your heart, allowing it to expand and fill you with warmth and gratitude. As you open your eyes, carry this sense of connection with you, knowing that we are all inextricably linked, and that together we can create a more compassionate and just world.
Guess what? This microphone's really loud. It's time for you to stand and sing again. Another lovely hymn, number 360 in the gray books, if you have one handy. Otherwise, of course, the words will be up on the screen. This is Here We Have Gathered.
Side by side, circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here have we gathered, called to celebrate days of our lifetime, matters small and great. May of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can, now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regret, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us, as we give we gain. Sing now
Please welcome the Reverend Rod Richards to our pulpit.
Thank you, thank you. It is wonderful to be here. Wow, is all I can say. Really good to be with you all today. I know them like the back of my hand. I know this like the back of my hand. I know that person like the back of my hand. Have you heard that phrase? It is supposed to mean that I know something or someone very well, intimately, in detail. And yet, thinking about this phrase caused me to look at the back of my hand, and I discovered that it was somewhat unfamiliar terrain. It didn't really look like the hand, either hand that I had assumed lived at the end of my arm. There was nothing that screamed out to me that this was my hand. I wasn't at all certain that I would be able to pick it out in a lineup. And then I started picturing what a lineup of hands would look like. You in the center, using your index finger, take one step forward. But I digress. What struck me about this phrase is how it assumes intimate and comprehensive knowledge of something or someone and compares that assumed knowledge to the knowledge I am supposed to have about something which it turns out I don't really know very well. I think of Joni Mitchell lyrics. I really don't know hands at all. And as I look at the back of my hand, I can only imagine how it has changed over time. I'm pretty sure that these veins didn't always bulge like that. That scar was not always there. Each of those spots and blemishes appeared at different points along the way. And further, it strikes me that the definitive knowing that this phrase implies, I know you like the back of my hand, is a knowing that too often stands in direct opposition to the word that is found in your values, your mission, your theme for this month, transformation. It is a presumed knowing that precludes the possibility of change. It is a knowing that assumes that I not only know who you have been, but who you can be. How many of you have perhaps had that experience with family? These are people often who have come to know you pretty well, after all, and who therefore often expect you to be the person they know. And it is sometimes easier to be that person than to try and introduce the person you've become. Now, some of that is natural relationship dynamics, which can occur in many contexts beyond families, workplaces, friend groups, even, yes, congregations. And it can sometimes be brought to light in a humorous and compassionate way that allows people to gently loosen those ties that keep us bound, to leave room for possibility, to open up the relationship to that which we do not know and would never have expected. Because there are times that those ties can be stifling, introducing new developments, new ways of thinking, or more importantly, new ways of being. One can be met with a somewhat condescending disbelief. Really? Come on. I know you. It is a very different feeling to have those changes recognized by those we love and those who love us. Maybe even changes we don't recognize in ourselves. There's a great passage at the end of The Hobbit. Spoiler alert, Bilbo gets home. But as he's coming home, he's walking with Gandalf, and he shares this song about journeys and what it feels like to journey and what it feels like to come home. And at the end of this song, Gandalf looks at him and says, "My dear friend, there is something the matter with you. You are not the hobbit that you were." And I love that. It feels so real, partly because it's not at all clear just from that passage whether Gandalf approves of the change or not. There's something wrong with you. But he notices it and affirms that change has occurred rather than saying, "Oh, stop singing that silly song, Bilbo. Come on, that's not you. I know you." Rebecca Solnit, in her book, A Field Guide to Getting Lost, quotes from a letter that Simone Weil writes to a friend on another continent. "Let us love this distance which is thoroughly woven with friendship." Solnit goes on to say, for Weil, love is the atmosphere that fills and colors the distance between herself and her friend. Even when that friend arrives on the doorstep, something remains impossibly remote. When you step forward to embrace them, your arms are wrapped around mystery, around the unknowable, around that which cannot be possessed. The far seeps in even to the nearest. After all, we hardly know our own depths. Separation, distance, unknowable. These are not words that come to mind, culturally speaking, when we think about love, unless it is in terms of a passionate longing to end that separation, to close that distance, to know all about the other, because we often think of love as being profoundly together, inseparable, knowing one another completely, knowing each other's minds and hearts. But the separation, the distance that Weil describes, is not antithetical to love. It does not hinder or thwart our ability to love. In fact, it seems that she would say, and I am more and more convinced of this, that love requires a recognition of separateness, acknowledging and honoring the distance between myself and yourself, feeling that when we embrace, we are each embracing mystery, knowing that we hardly know our own depths. I sometimes hesitate to use the chalice-lighting words we heard today by Sophia Lyon-Foss. We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment. We're okay so far, right? The wonder of being together, so close yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber. What? That's not community, is it? Each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. That's the hard piece. It ends with, we gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. Beautiful. I think most people could swing with that last passage too. So I want to return to the hard piece. The wonder of being together so close, yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding, none fully understood. A few congregants across time have expressed to me that they find this passage depressing rather than inspiring, and don't understand why it shows up in the opening words of welcome section in our hymnal. And of course, people have the right to feel however they feel about this passage. I simply want to offer a different perspective informed by the wise Simone Weil and the wise Rebecca Solnit as they talk about love and separation, as they talk about how distance is woven with friendship, and to think for a moment how that shows up in community. To me, this Faz reading provides a helpful corrective to what we sang together in the hymn this morning. We who now gather know each other's pain. Do we? Fully? We can empathize, certainly. We can find similarities in our own experience, perhaps, and we can undoubtedly be present to others, be there for them, whether we truly know their pain or not. And once I have given up the expectation of being able to fully understand or to be fully understood, well, that reduces some anxiety, right? It's okay to be in that place. According to Faz, we are all in that place. And notice that she writes the wonder of being together so close yet so apart. The wonder of it. She doesn't say the problem of being together so close yet so apart. She doesn't even get all ministerial on us and reframe problems to say the challenge of being together so close yet so apart. She says wonder. She calls it wonder, the wonder of being together so close yet so apart. There is a wonder there that is, I think, a necessary component of love, knowing that the only thing I really know is that I don't and won't ever fully know you, and that you can and will change and grow in ways that I would never be able to predict. The wonder of being together, none fully understanding, none fully understood. What we know of one another is important, of course it is. And from that growing familiarity comes affection and connection and community, partly. And the other part comes from traveling together that terrain that is unfamiliar, that we may not fully understand, recognizing that love is the atmosphere that fills and colors the distance between us. Love fills that distance. Knowledge can't do that. Love can. Kindness can heal us. As we give, we gain. One of the beautiful things about coming here is that I know this congregation, right? And of course, I don't know this congregation. I have experience with this congregation at a point in time, a familiarity perhaps with the spirit of this community that shared your kindness with us, my wife Hanji, my son Jack, the place that was such a supportive incubator and educator, a launching pad for my journey into ministry. I know this congregation, and I don't know this congregation. Because we use words like congregation as if they describe uniformity in any given period of time and a static, unchanging reality over a span of time, even though we know better. The words we use often don't accommodate the ever-shifting, free-flowing, always in formation reality of what truly is. The wonder of being together, so close yet so apart, the dynamic nature of identity and relationship and community. You would think us spiritual folks would have worked on this a bit more. Take, for example, what will be happening this afternoon, a ceremony of installation, a celebration of a covenant between minister and congregation, a promise to journey together, an affirmation of a very powerful, meaningful relationship. That is a wonderful, awesome thing. And installation? Really? Sounds a little less living tradition and a little more Home Depot, doesn't it? Couple people in coveralls from Ministerial Transitions showing up at your door. We got your minister here. Where do you want him installed? And over time, yeah, we installed a minister a few years back. Only took a little over an hour, but we have this puppy secured. We've had to replace the wisdom condenser and add a couple of new sermon tubes, and we're going through complaint filters one after the other. I don't know what that's about, but all in all, working well. Installation. You get my drift. You know, I know, Matthew knows that's not what's happening. Installation sounds like the completion of a project rather than the beginning of a process. It sounds like what you would do with a piece of equipment. It sounds static rather than dynamic, and this is a dynamic relationship which you have embarked upon, replete with opportunities to get comfortable with not fully understanding. There are no one-size-fits-all instructions. There is no single way of doing it right. You are intentionally engaging together intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure, ever. Dynamic, relational, vibrant, hard to grasp, but easy to hold. And my wish for you all is that you come to know one another anew and that you accept and embrace the inevitable not knowing that Sophia Lyon-Foss speaks of. Embrace not knowing in a way that allows you to recognize and affirm change, that allows you to say one to another or to the whole community at once, my dear friends, we are not the hobbits that we were. To paraphrase Solnit, even when your minister arrives and you have found a new physical home, something remains impossibly remote. When you step forward to embrace all that this ceremony of installation means, your arms will be wrapped around mystery, around the unknowable, around that which cannot be possessed. Each of you are sitting next to mystery. That is where the wonder lives. And that is where the possibility for transformation lies, not in the knowing one another completely, but in recognizing that all our lives we are changing. With every breath, we are in formation. And Solnit ends that passage with a beautiful realization. The far seeps in even to the nearest, she writes. After all, we hardly know our own depths. We hardly know our own depths. And that's part of what we engage in our congregations, right? To come to know a little better our own depth. Because we sometimes turn that suffocating, assumed knowledge inward, don't we? I could change, but I know me. I would try that, but I know me. Transformation, yes, sounds good, but I know me. But do I? I know myself like the back of my hand. And my supposedly exhaustive knowledge of myself can keep me from acknowledging who I am becoming. I hold on to a static image of a self that is, in fact, changing every moment. We hardly know our own depths. We place such a great premium on knowledge that we sometimes turn away from acknowledging all that we do not know, the wonder of being together so close yet so apart, none fully understanding, none fully understood. There is life in that space between us with all that we do not know. Love is woven with distance, possibility resides there. Change, transformation. For today, I will bask in the wonder of being with you all. And I will acknowledge that while I know and love this community and my friend and colleague Matthew, and I delight in your coming together, that my love is strengthened by what I do not know nor fully understand, a mystery that lies at its heart, that there is so much I cannot predict about how you will change and grow and transform in the years, in the months, in the days, in the moments ahead. And I believe that I will spend some time this afternoon tracing the ever-changing mysteries that reside on the back of my hands. Thank you.
Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one. Oh, better times will come.
When we greet each dawn without fear, knowing loved ones soon will be near. When the winds of war cannot blow anymore, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. We live each day as our last. We know someday soon it will pass. We will dance, we will sing in the world ending. Oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Better times, everybody. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Oh, better times will come.
Oh,
Thank you, everyone who had a part in today's service. The music was amazing. The quilts are beautiful. The flowers are beautiful. Everything. Thank you, Reverend Rod Richards, for your sermon. This morning, I went for a hike at Catalina State Park, which I try to do every weekend. And as some of you know, there's a lot of water there right now. And so the same river that I end up crossing and falling into multiple times throughout the day looks different. It's the same river, and yet it's different. And that's what came to me today during your service. The not knowing, accept, and affirm change. As we end our service today, there's a few announcements. As you walk out through the doors and enjoy the hospitality, there are 2 baskets. Our wooden baskets for the work of the church, as well as our woven basket for our partnership this month, which is Laguna and Hendricks Elementary School. And so as we mentioned, there's a great article in the newsletter as well. Our partnership helps meet some of their needs. Their school needs are great. And so whatever you can offer financially, or if you think about or are wondering about volunteering, you can talk to also Chuck Tatum about it. Thank you. We have a book sale the final Sunday of April, before and after service. So find some great books, help contribute to the funds to continue growing our library. And finally, our last one is installation today at 3:30. Yes. Not without dust and heat. And so the service will be led by the installation will be preached by Reverend Elizabeth Wen and attended by Reverend Matthew and his ministerial colleagues, of course. Please attend, join us afterwards for the dinner. If you have RSVP'd, I should probably say that. And so, thank you.
As we end our service today, these words as we extinguish our chalice. As we go forth from this sacred place, may we celebrate earth and our shared lives. May we recognize our connections to all that is in and on earth. May we truly and deeply value the inherent worth of all in this awesome, interconnected web of existence. May we continue to explore and grow individually and as a congregation. And may we hold our commitments and each other gently yet firmly.
And I, of course, can't resist when Dan brings 3/4 of his Blue Prairie dogs. I can't resist hijacking the lovely rhythm section of Roy and Charlie for the postlude. Great tune by Joe Zawinul, originally from a group called Weather Report in the 1970s. Mercy, mercy, mercy.